Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday, the start of the next 6 days worth of Orc content. I'm not going to do a week, but I am going to do 6 days, but it's going to be every single day. You're going to get an Orc related video starting today, Wednesday. A little bit of an introduction. I'm going to go through every single unit type in the Orc codex, which you can pick up for, I think this is about 30 quid from Games Workshop or online store, wherever. Even borrow your mates, have a look at that, see if you like it, see if you like the rules. There are a lot of mixed feelings at the start. I had mixed feelings too, but I think it's still quite a fun army, so long as you don't really think of it as being too competitive. I mean, hey, if all the armies in 40k were competitive, when I mean competitive, I mean, you know, they all have their incredible units. There wouldn't be that variety, and they'd just be very, very samey. It wouldn't be very fun. It'd be mainly due to the dice roll rather than tactics and things like that. I am not going to just open it and read and give you information. I'm actually going to compare it to, obviously, the Space Marine Codex, which I have by my side. I'm going to compare it. I'm going to be going back to and from the rule book, which is very important, and also I've got the Orc Codex, the old one, the previous one, to kind of look at differences, similarities between that one for the particular units. I won't mention like some of the things that GW probably pull me down for, such as like points cost, like the exact points cost, the exact stats, things like that. If you want to know them, get the codex. If you've got an Orc army, bring it into the 7th edition, because this was actually the first codex GW released straight after the new rules. So this is kind of like, it's got them in mind, really. So get it if you've got an Orc army, and you'll be able to play your Orc army and bring it up to scratch. So without further ado, let's have a look at the HQ, the headquarters. So grab yourself a drink, get your paint set up, whatever you need to do to prepare. Now, they changed it a little bit compared to other codexes, because with the Space Marine one, you could have one HQ and you had to have 2 troop choices. You could have 2 cheap squads of scouts just to make it up and then get all your good stuff. Or you could get 2 squads of tactical marines, which, again, you could have 2 5-man squads of tactical marines. But in the Orc Codex, a bit different. You have to have 3. So 1 HQ, 3 troops, then you've got an optional of 6 more. So you could have 9 squads. You could have 30 in a squad. You could have 270 orcs. In theory. You have elites, fast attack, heavy sport, so 3 of each. So you can have up to 3 HQ, which is great. 1 fortification, 1 Lord of War. In a detachment. If you're playing Apocalypse, attachments can go out the window. If you really want to play it Unbound armies, again, attachments go out the window. Use what you want. So the HQ, I won't go through like the pictures of the book or anything like that, because you've probably seen my unboxing and kind of review of the codex anyway. Headquarters, you have got, so you've got a couple of choices here. You've got a war boss. Compared to the old codex, exactly the same. He's the same points, he's got the same stats, he's got that new special rule, which is the here we go thing. He's still got Furious Charge, and you know, he's an independent character and things like that. And really, in a way, here we go kind of replace the WH special rule, things like that. He can take the heavy armour, he could in the other one. It's actually cheaper to take the heavy armour in this one now, which is great. Again, he can have the Slugger Chopper, Mega Armour, you know, he can take weapons from the ranged melee, runts, squigs, orky whatnots, and gives them more Gorka more. So he can take all those things. It's different to the other codex, which they have kind of like all the pieces of war gear that you can have there on the page as well, and the prices. So you have to kind of, with this newer one, flick back and have a look at the things that he can buy and obviously take them. So he hasn't really changed. other than his heavy armour's a bit cheaper, and it's a good HQ. You just, you'd want a really big orc to be the leader of your orc army. So here are my HQs and my army, and I will be doing this throughout, especially if I've got models. So you can see there, a bit of a fail. Well, I've got one orc war boss with a chopper. You could buy a new chopper, you count that as that's fine. And all the rest of the things. Then you got Gruck Face Ripper from the Stormclaw box set. He's got his little attack squig and his power claw, and then his custom shooter, which has got like the rocket launcher, or combi rocket shooter. And then you've got another war boss here with a power claw, which is from the Black Reach. And then you've got a big mech, which I will talk about in a moment. So I've got 3 war bosses. That's just what I've ended up with. That's what I've got. I'll always use a war boss, and with this new codex you can have 3. You can have up to 3. So to have one, it's a tough decision. They've got some good HQs in this, I won't lie. Their HQs in this book are fantastic. So let's get back to the actual book. So war boss, very good choice. He's good initiative. You can upgrade his save throw. He's got a lot of attacks. He's very strong. He's very tough. He's very strong. He's got plenty of wounds. His weapon skill's pretty decent too. He's definitely going to give your Space Marine Captain a run for his money if he gets in close combat, unless your Space Marine Captain's got like buffs and things like that, such as increases initiative, or he's got some power sword or something like that. All right, but he definitely will give you other HQs and other armies a run for money. He's very much melee focused. Don't give him too much in terms of weapons, like range weapons. Just keep him up close and personal, keep that initiative, and get him into the battle as quickly as you can. Make use of his here we go special rule. Another HQ that you might not naturally think of would be a Weird Boy. Weird Boy is kind of like the Orc Psyker, really. He's got this, it talks about warp charge points, which is excellent because that's all in the new rules. He's cheaper again than the Weird Boy in the old codex, and also, but his stats have remained, similar. And he can also obviously use, he can be upgraded to different Psyker levels, and he can generate powers through the power of the War and Demonology. All right, so no pyromancy or anything like that. So he's just a Psyker, if you want to do it that way. Psykers are pretty good. Psychic powers in this book are fantastic, so he might be a good choice. Personally, I want to try out all these HQs if I get the chance to see which ones work. I suppose some will work better than others in situations, but I want to keep my army quite melee orientated, even though this new edition is more ranged weaponry. But there we go. Mechs. I love these guys. I love the fact that orcs kind of sprout up from the ground, and they have this innate ability to fix things and build things. I mean, they're kind of like your bikers of a different race, really, aren't they? Awesome, really awesome units. These normal mechs now, you can have, for every HQ choice, you can have like a number of them, pretty decent. And the big mechs can pack a punch, especially like my my kind of Big Daddy mech. You can have your power claw there. You've got your custom blaster. You've got the teleport blaster there. I mean, he would be good leading the army. I think orcs are definitely going more vehicle. They're building up. Before there used to be lots of horde armies. They get in there. They have all these special rules, but now they're a lot more shootier than they've ever been, and there's a lot more vehicles and armour on the board than there ever been. Even though there's a few things that have been nerfed, like killer cans, but we'll move on to that eventually. But they're really trying to push these vehicles and things by having mechs, having this special rule about having mechs in every squad, things like that. Compared to the rules for the previous one, they've stayed the same points. Their stats have remained similar. You've still got these mech tool things, but you've got these funny, funky weapons like this shock attack gun. I mean, yeah, they could get a shock attack gun before and custom force fields, but the thing that you're missing a lot in all these HQs is that cyborg body. Not cyborg, cyborg. And that's really giving you that invulnerable 5+. You don't really get that anymore, unfortunately. You don't get that at all. Now you have this custom force field, which is, you know, a radius, and not everyone can take that. And the equivalent of the cyborg body now just gives you a 6+ feel no pain. So they've kind of lost out on the invulnerable saves and I think they're missing out. They've definitely got a lot more weapons that ignore saves and that are better AP. Just generally they have, especially when you look at the snaz guns that have, you know, the random AP. So, you know, you've got that 3, 2 or a 1 to wipe out marine equivalents. I mean, that's a good thing. So overall, the army's got better AP weapons and higher strength weapons than it ever has done, but you are sacrificing because your orcs don't have your big invulnerable saves anymore. Not as much as they used to. So that's big mechs. Very, very good choice if you've got a lot of mechanised things. So if you have your killer can wall, if you have your death dreads, if you have your Gorkanauts, I mean, they're good because they can just repair and carry on. You can put them in the actual vehicles themselves and they can repair on the fly. Kind of reminds me of Battlefield when you've got your blowtorch out and you're repairing your chopper as there's the pilot piloting it. So yeah, that's the mechs. And finally, you've got your Pain Boy. Now, Pain Boy's pretty decent because they've got the Urti syringe, which is very good at dealing damage out on multiple wound creatures, and you got your Docs tools, and you know you can put one of them in a lot of squads, and you know you can actually help other squads with the feel no pain and things like that. So Pain Boy's a good little addition. But I just really feel that there's a lot of HQ in this book, a lot. Not as much as heavy support, obviously, but there's a lot of HQ. But again, another good unit that you can have. Compared to the previous book, you didn't have Pain Boys in a previous book. Well, at least not that I can see, anyway. You had Mad Doc Grotznik, who's next door there, and he stayed the same points, and pretty much a lot of those things have stayed the same, except for his toughness. You know, he's got this toughness thing going on in the previous book. But yeah, Pain Boy's pretty decent. Haven't really changed, except for you couldn't really take him in the old book. Now we're going to talk about the special characters. You've got Mad Doc Grotznik, which is just a souped up Pain Boy with all these. He's got his cyborg body, and he's got you know, these little special rules. You've got Captain Badruk. At the moment, Games Workshop are doing 2 flash kits and him with some, you know, ammo grots. That's excellent. If you haven't got the flash kits already, you should just buy that set with him in it, because trust me, if you get 5, you want to get another 5, so you might as well just buy the 2 squads and him with it, and you get the grots. I would get that now, but I think 15 is just far too many. My Orc army isn't my main army, and I just see no point in getting 2 now. If they'd have released them all at the same time, because let's face it, they did have that model at that time, then they would have got more money out of me. But I'm sorry, I refuse to get that model now, because they've bundled him in with 2 squads. And hey, I got stung with being a loyal first day customer by buying 5 of them. So it's their loss. It's their decision, and unfortunately they make a loss on that. But Captain Badruk hadn't really changed much. Boss Zagstruck, he's kind of like the Storm Boy one, and that is it. So you've got your 3 special characters there for your HQ, and then you've got your normal amount, your normal HQ. So just to summarise it, then you've got your War Boss, which you could have as, you know, close combat specialist. You got your Weird Boy, which is kind of like your Psyker. You've got your Big Mech, and you've got your Pain Boy. So you've got 4 main ones there, and you've got mechs that can go in different squads to spruce things up. I mean, in reality, you could just have a mech. You could just have one mech leading your whole army. You could have a mech, and you could have 30 Gretchen if you wanted to be really, really cheap about the whole thing. But when your war boss is 60 points or a weird boy is 40 points, orcs are so cheap. You can afford to pimp them out a bit. Personally, what I would use is I would use at least one war boss, probably a mech or a big mech, and then the weird boy and the pain boy. Depends. If you've got more vehicles and things, probably worth getting another mech. If you know that the other people have got psychers, I found out with my recent battle report that having a psyker, even a psyker level 2, really helps with your warp charges, how many you can actually use to you know, deny the witch and things like that. It really helps. So it depends. I mean, we'd all love to tailor make all of our army lists, but I think the one that works best is definitely a war boss and a big mech or a mech, and then the other are just choices. I'd love to get the models for all of them, probably will in the future, but that is my kind of overview of the headquarters section. Hope you've enjoyed this video so far of the HQ section in the Orc Codex. I hope you've gained some things out of it. I know it's quite a long video, but hope that's helped you in your decisions and things. I really love the Orcs HQ. I think that, you know, having one bigger Orc than all the rest is just cool, and he's had to work his way up to lead that, all the Orc boys and the knobs. I think it's brilliant. That is the HQ section done. Next video tomorrow will be the troops, where I'll talk about boys, Gretchen, you know, what you best equip them with, things like that. So I hope you join me tomorrow for the next instalment for troop choices for the Orc army. Thanks for watching. Take care.